thing I did want to ask you is Barbara was telling me that it was somewhere, I don't know what, Illinois, that you had some kind of debate about
I was,
satanic lyrics or something. Because I went on a book tour this summer to promote a book that I wrote, and everywhere I went, I got that
what?
all rock and roll was filled with devil music, and if you played it backwards, you know, blah, blah,
It's
blah,
true,
blah.
it is. And we'll hopefully put as much of it as we can find in there. It is totally. It's the total, not the total, but it's the near opposite of everything that they stand for.
You're talking
Freedom,
about
licentiousness, responsible licentiousness.
you're talking about fundamentalists or just
No,
people in general?
well, I personally extend it to all Christians, almost, but many Christians are good, and we have one in our own band.
Born again or just a
I don't question him heavily on the matter. It's sort of his own.
yeah.
He doesn't proselytize, and so if he did, we'd probably have a few more debates. but because I went to Jesuits through the university years, and went through it all, tired of it, and it seems like a real. It's good for some people. It's not a bad way to live, but it's dangerous for some people too. It kills certain elements of you, I think.
What was this debate, though?
Oh, some preacher in somewhere, Herpes, Illinois, or somewhere, said that we in devil group rock and roll, you know, not to get our children drugs, sex, rock and roll, and went and call on Grace and Paul to come down and repent of their evil ways and recall all of our records and things like that, and have him baptize us, and or come down and debate with him. And we had not. It was in actually the town even funnier than Herpes, Illinois. It was Normal, Illinois. And we had nothing else to do in Normal that day, so I went down.
Did you have a serious debate with them?
I wouldn't categorize it as real serious on my point of view, but yes, for all intents and purposes.
You know,
I mainly went with the intent to show him that I wasn't perhaps as satanic as he might have thought. And there weren't horns growing out of my head, and I didn't do strange ritual dances around pentagrams and things like that. And I think he got that out of it. Some other group from California called the Eagle's Nest Christian Fellowship, a guy I had seen on the what's the name of that show? The Jim Bakker Show, which is one of these TV Money for Jesus shows, like the 700 Club and stuff, had mentioned us in the same line as Led Zeppelin in Black Oak, Arkansas, in this satanic backwards masking business that's going on in records. You know, Satan is Lord, saying backwards.
Black Oak, Arkansas, or Black Sabbath?
Black Oak, Arkansas, oddly enough, has some.
They still in the business?
Oh no! I mean, the records they're citing, and particularly this one guy, are like 10 years old. In our case, 12 years old. He's just catching up. And I sort of pointed out a few of our more recent records, like Stairway to Cleveland and Miracles, just for humor, and to give him a touch of the modern. But they're just out there raising money. It's one way to raise money.
You don't think it's dangerous?
Yeah, it's dangerous.
I mean, we are sort of joking about this here, but there's a lot of that going on. I'm not saying that...
Well, there's always that statement, it could never happen here, that they used to say in Germany in 1930. And so, I've been not studying them, but just watching them on television for maybe since 1970, really. Actually, it's quite a decade-long study. And I've put them in a novel I'm writing now, a science fiction rock and roll novel. They're sort of comprise one half of the bad guys, more or less, as it were. And they're a definite element of danger. They've upset a lot of the Senate and the House politically. Not that it probably really matters to anybody. They burn a lot of records and books, but people have been doing that since records and books began. So I don't see them getting out of hand much. I see them rising on maybe a parallel sort of chart as the punk rock movement, and sort of perhaps they balance one another off in society. And there's just elements of extremism. I love extremism in almost any form, short of pain and murder and death and atomic warfare or something. I enjoy viewing extremism. So I'm amused. I went to this Eagle's Nest place, and then I invited them to our show, and they came, and they saw I wasn't the devil, and they allowed us how I might be a seeker after the light and stuff like that, which I am. And they thought I was honest, and they said they'd pray for me, and I thanked them. And we remained friends, or friendly acquaintances. We took them out to dinner in Hollywood, Cynthia and I, my girlfriend. They're nice people. I think it serves a need in a lot of people. who don't have anything to cling to. And I think probably a lot of what all of us cling to is false. So who's to say they're right or wrong? They're not bad people, I don't think. Some of them are, as in any group of people. But I think most of them are driven by a need to make their planet or their town a better place, the way they think it should be. Some of them get out of control, and they want to get rid of everything. No, nothing, just sit and pray. But others of us sort of fight that.
What do you think about the fact that they still perceive, they or anybody actually would perceive rock and roll
They're right.
as a danger?
It is a danger.
Still.
It is still a danger.
It's not just show business.
No, it never was show business to us. I mean, it's a danger. From their, looking at the world from their point of view, it represents a danger, just as they represent a danger to our world. We don't concern ourselves much with it, and they shouldn't concern ourselves that much with us, and should get about to the business of praying, to the business of helping people, to the business of feeding and clothing people in their own church. That's what a church is for. It's a community. It's the same as a rock and roll band, or it's the same as our kind of a rock and roll band. It's a small family of connected people who choose to connect themselves and support one another. It's their way of doing it. But when they start getting into the Hitler stuff or the burn the books, or one thing that bothers me is their sort of prediction of the Armageddon to come, the fire next time, it could be self-fulfilling if we get a born-again president born enough to want to act as the instrument of the Lord for the battlefield of Armageddon and set off, nuclear bomb number 17. That's not that far out of possibility, although it's probably more of a TV script or a movie script. And everything's a movie script these days than a reality. I don't know that reality exists anymore. I'm sort of getting into quantum physics where reality is sort of constantly recreated every moment.
Tell me about the solo album that you're doing. Since you brought this up, you said the novel. Is that the same thing now that's become the solo album?
Well, the solo album is, the novel is the story of a rock and roll band.
But I mean, are you actually doing it in prose, or are you doing it on the record?
Oh, yeah, it's all written. It's over there in my trunk. I'm editing it right now. Or I'm trying, I don't even know if it's any good, really, because I've never written a novel before, and it might be shit, as they say, novelist trade. I have no standards myself upon which to judge. I think it's pretty amusing in cases, but who am I to tell? It's like your first song.
How long did it take you to write?
It's not finished yet. It's about 2.5 years. Putting it together and organizing it. It was a real unique experience. Holding something in my mind for that long. Usually in rock and roll, particularly, you write a song, play it, it's on the album, you get on to the next song. And it's sort of built for our short attention span kind of life that we lead. But this was like a long-range kind of thing of thinking of the album and the novel and trying to sort of work them along similar paths and getting the people involved over 2.5 years was really unusual for me. And just writing a novel and being able to create a separate reality or non-reality, whatever you want to call it, was real fascinating. Having it get away from you and having the characters sort of pull you along. You're struggling to write while they're doing things. It was interesting. And trying to get it all down before you forget it. It was neat.
What's it called?
Planet Earth Rock and Roll Orchestra.
And that's the title of the album as well?
Yeah.
Have you started doing the album?
Yeah, I've got the album. I cut the basic tracks with Aynsley Dunbar and Jack Cassidy about 6 months ago. And some other people are helping me work on stuff while I'm away. And after this tour, I'll go back and do some more.
I'm sorry, go
Grace is going to sing on it, and probably most of the band is going to play on it. And some other people, too, I'm working on.
Science fiction?
Yeah, it's the music. Most of it is the music that the band in the novel makes in the course of the novel. So it's like turn to chapter 4 and cut 3 and sing along and read along, kids.
Can you tell me a little bit about the story?
Basically, it's about a rock and roll band that develops a set of technologies that amplifies mental capacities and mental telepathy, kinestheology, whatever you call it, moving things, just doing things with your mind. And then the government and with a coalition of born-again sort of right-wing politicians goes after them. And that's basically the story, the conflict.
What kind of technology do they develop?
Machineries, computer-driven machineries that basically amplify what you already have, what most people already have. And some people in the story have a lot more of it going in. So they're sort of have certain movers. The girl in the book is named Lilith Kellogg, and she's like real tied into being able to use mental powers. And the children in the book, one of the things it gets to is the children are the best at it because they're not as confused perhaps or as the rest of us and can lock right in. And it's true in real life. Children can lock right in on that sort of stuff. And children become, well, I don't want to give all the plot away, real critical in the ending elements of what happens.
It's not like Children of the Damned kind of thing.
Oh, no, these are good children.
These are good
happy,
children.
wonderful
like E.T. children.
Not quite, but they're not Children of the Damned or anything like that.
Sounds like something from what you just described, which I'm sure you're not, that's not the whole thing. But it sounds like something that could be pretty close to the truth, no?
Oh, no,
The kind
because
of
like I was saying,
technology.
you get into writing this. Oh, the technology is yeah, we're not far from that now. Some of it even exists now. I mean, you heard of alpha wave generators and expanders in the 60s or the 70s, when all hippies and oming and meditation was big. But I don't know how far away it is. I don't see it as that far away.
To get to the Starship for a second, what has kept this going for 17 years?
I haven't the foggiest idea, Lisa. I just sort of stumble along here. It's like being in a boat with or a canoe on a river, and you have a paddle and you sort of try to keep the canoe from turning over rather than to worrying about where you're going. We've always dealt with the immediate.
Do you feel
we've never had a plan.
Are you the one, however, that's kept the canoe from going over? I mean, would you?
I don't know. I was the only one left at one point here or there. Not really. Actually, it was the changeover. It was always, I wasn't the only one. But I don't know.
Do you think you're a little bit too modest about your role in terms of, keeping the whole thing going?
I'm just doing,
or being
what
a
else
stable force?
What am I going to sell shoes?
I don't know.
Or
Did you ever?
Cars? No. When I was in high school, I always looked at every job that was ever offered to you. When you go in for the, whatever they call it, where the students go in and see what kind of jobs are available.
Aptitude tests.
Not tests, but employers come to the school with little things they hand out, pamphlets to tell you about their job and their industry. See if you're interested in wanting to join them. I forget what the name of them was, but most high schools I thought had those sort of things.
I don't know. I went to Bronx High School of Science. I don't ever remember seeing anything like that. They just assumed
sort
we
of
ought
the
to
way
be
Dow
scientists.
Chemical used to recruit on college campuses.
Right.
Or CIA, they come on and have a little booth. Every one of them, every job looked awful. And I didn't contemplate suicide, but I said, God, if this is all there is, what am I going to do? And I didn't know what I was going to do.
You weren't a musician at that time, or you didn't?
Not
you
really,
weren't
no.
actively?
No. Just a high school kid.
Did you just fall into it?
Good question. Led into it by folk music. Folk music became sort of more than just music, the way rock and roll is sort of more than just music now. And got into it through the civil rights movement, probably getting interested in the civil rights movement in the early 60s, learning that there were black people. Like I went to a Catholic school, and I don't think I even knew there were black people alive in the planet.
Where did you go?
Until I was in the 6th grade or the 4th grade or something like that.
Where did you
Just
grow up?
It was a Catholic military school in California, Peninsula.
Oh, California, that explains it.
No, there was black people walking around. I just never saw them, and it was a real shock. No, it wasn't really a real shock, but it was a real shock when you found out how shitty they got treated. That was, I think that's the element for a lot of us of what happened in the 60s, is that letdown of all of a sudden it wasn't God and American apple pie and the land of the free and the home of the brave and all this. It was a real bunch of jerk-offs jerking us off. And rather than settle down like our forefathers and get a job and be serious and get mature and join the army and become a man, everybody said, fuck you, we're not going to do this. You're out of your mind. We were the first generation, probably maybe the first or second generation born without the survival need. We didn't have to fight to survive or starve to survive. We were all raised. Our society has gotten past the survival stage to where you have that leisure time to think. Dangerous.
Do you think it has, or you think it's going back?
Did.
I mean, do you think kids
Our
growing up
generation, our
now?
generation hasn't had any. I mean, we didn't have anything like the Depression or the war.
We didn't, but what about now?
No, not now. We don't either. I don't think. Not really. Not like back then. I'm talking about the Middle Ages or the Industrial Revolution or stuff. That's serious coal mining in Pennsylvania in the 1800s. Even in the early 1900s, we didn't have to deal with life on that level. We've all led a fairly comfortable. Even the poorest of us have led a fairly comfortable life, in terms of those kind of things, in terms of the neighborhoods of New Delhi, for example, or modern New Delhi. Americans have it real easy. We haven't faced any fire. So we had that leisure time to think and to question the fact that there's a lot that seems wrong here. Why is this wrong? And that's where the 60s started. And I learned it in the 50s when I was in high school and saw people. My first inclination toward it was watching people being washed down the San Francisco City Hall steps by fire hoses during the McCarthy HUAC hearings in San Francisco when I was in high school. And I looked at that and said, gee, I never heard about stuff like this before. What's going on there? And I've never stopped looking since.
I come from the same kind of background, except it was real New York, liberal, leftist, that type thing. And the music obviously meant something to us then. What do you think? I mean, you have what, an 11-year-old daughter, right? What does this music mean to her now?
Which music?
Rock and roll music.
There's no such thing as rock and roll anymore.
All right. What does she listen to?
Any number of things, from the Go-Go's to Rick Springfield to her own music to our music.
So is it just?
She's like a child of the 80s.
Is it entertainment and that's it?
She's only 11 years old. Yeah, she's a kid. She's not like a Jane Fonda activist child who goes to. I mean, I like Jane, but I don't think that's the place for children. She knows about the world more than I did. I mean, she knows about police beating people, and she knows about war, and she knows about all that stuff. I don't know how it'll affect her in the long run, but she's getting there, but she's not like a flag-waving marcher, demonstrator.
Do you think any kids are now?
No,
That's the thing I'm getting to. So what does, you just said to me that rock and roll is still more than music. What is it?
Well, what I meant by that is there is no, quote, rock and roll anymore. It's 500 different things. It's not one movement anymore. Music has sharded. There's not one dominant music. There was Frank Sinatra era and the Elvis era and the Beatles era, and now it's country music is big. Barry Manilow is big. Linda Ronstadt's big. The Go-Go's are big. I mean, it's all totally different kinds of music that are out there bubbling up and down all the time. There's no dominant form of anything.
Do you miss that?
No. It was enjoyable when we were there.
Does it make you question at all ever what you're doing, still doing this?
I enjoy it.
Making the music?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel as integrally involved?
It pays really well. Of course, it's integral to everything we do. It's a privilege to be able to do it. It's not a job. It's it's a job. Yeah, you got to do a lot of traveling.
But it still doesn't feel like work.
It's not like Roger Daltrey complaining, "Oh God, what a nightmare on the road," while he's staying in $300 a night hotels and traveling around by a chauffeured limousine. I mean, nightmare? Give me a break, Roger. It's a real easy life, Again, compared to the coal miner in even modern day Pennsylvania. Come on, Roger. It's not like that. I mean, you may have psychodrama in your life or something, but it's not a hard life. It's not like struggling on the plains of France in World War II.
I think...
I just can't... it's not a hard life.
Well, despite...
Even the worst band in the world, slogging around in a little pickup truck from Osceola, Michigan to Alaska, has a much better time of it than any coal miner ever. And there's hundreds of them working that can't even get a job today. But it's nothing to complain about. If you want to complain about it, scram. Who cares?
Well,
if you can't take the heat, get out of the fucking kitchen.
Well, one of the things I think that is part of the reason why he is getting out of the kitchen is because he's concerned with the day when his energy level is going to drop on stage and he feels it looks dated and it feels ridiculous and he should turn it over to
then
younger
do something else. That's what he's doing.
people. Yeah, but you don't feel that way about it. You don't feel ever dated about what you're doing or
I've
any of
never
that?
thought of it in those terms. I'm sure some people think of it in that terms, but that's for them to think. We try to do what we do as best as we can, and you bridge out in other directions. That's why I started into writing. I've always liked writing, but I've always looked at it as I looked upon Elvis Presley and rock and roll when I was at that age. I never thought of myself as being a, quote, professional musician. I mean, that was just not even thought of. It wasn't even a aspiration. Same with writing, until you actually start doing it. And I'm not yet, really. I mean, I might suck, for all I know, and it won't be worth it. But it's just, my point is that you branch out and you do other things, and there are other sides of life than touring on a rock and roll stage. But it's by no means a pain in the ass.
You make it sound like things just happen to you, though.
They do.
You know, now, given that,
Fortunately.
you never plan, you never
Well,
have
we've planned.
anxiety
No, we've
about what you're
planned in the
doing.
beginning. We've planned, but it always gets screwed up. The farther in advance, the more complex we plan, then the more easy it is for just one little element to just screw the whole thing up. And so when we do plan, I try to leave it purposely open to several possibilities, depending on what happens, rather than get your 5-year plan. And in August 14th, 1991, we're going to be working at Cobo Hall in Detroit at 8 o'clock with so-and-so as an opening act. I mean, that's just not realistic.
One of the things Grace said to me once about why she at one point had to leave was she said that she hated chaotic situations, even though she was aware that she apparently had contributed to a certain amount of chaos. But she said she likes to know when the train is leaving or what time something is happening and so forth. And she said that wasn't the situation with Starship.
Never has been.
It's still not?
Oh, it's much better than it used to be, yeah.
Why is it better now?
Just we took a little more effort toward it. Not because of her, just because that was the nature of the band when we reformed, to do that sort of stuff. And we did it. We're still far from perfect.
Which reformation are you talking about?
The present one.
Oh. Why did Aynsley leave?
That's personal, and let us say he stepped over the line and should have had his head blown off.
All right.
But Jesuit politeness forbade me. And he just stepped over the line.
But he did work with you on the solo. Well,
yeah,
that was before this.
Still a good drummer, just a jerk.
When you looked for a singer at the point when you got Mickey, what did you think he would add? What was it that you think he brought?
Good singing.
But what did he bring that's different to the group? I mean, when Grace came back, you didn't think of getting rid of him.
No.
I know you like the male and the female voices together. Was that the main reason, or?
What, that we didn't have any singers at that point.
No. I mean, when Grace came back and he still remained.
Yeah, he's still part of the group.
Yeah.
He was a part of it.
That combination is the most important thing to you?
No.
That kind of...
It's one element that's real important to me. It creates a real unique thing. It's one of the things that we are that most other people aren't. But it comes from Reeve, the Weavers. Folk music. Ronnie Gilbert. Sonic approach. And it amplified when Marty and Grace got together in the airplane. And that's part of music to me. Male-female is real important to me. Space, going to space, and the ascension of the female to semi-equality, even muscular equality in space, is a real unique sort of evolutionary step that I've always linked together with having singers, male and female, equal, stand up there, foot to foot, or however you want to categorize it.
Did you audition Helen Schneider at one point?
Only personally.
Oh. Was there ever any other female singer that you seriously considered for the band?
I liked Pat Benatar. She was moving too fast, though.
For your band?
Oh, yeah, this is long before she got popular.
Really?
I thought she's a great voice, great singer, great spirit, I think. I mean, a lot of people see her just as a pop singer, but she also has some real good rock and roll there, that goes beyond pop, I think. I've always liked it, and her voice is a real good instrument. I don't know her personally at all, but I loved to seeing her, and I was going for a woman singer anyway. But the rest of the band was sort of being recalcitrant, which is good. And, I mean, we act as checks and balances upon one another at our best when it's working, and we're all assholes to one another when it's not working at its best.
I was going to ask, how do you ever make a decision?
Hard, over a period of time. Sometimes with force, sometimes just it happens.
Who imposes the force?
Whoever wants to have the decision made.
I mean, how democratic is it, really?
More and more so. That's the ideal. I don't know that we're going to make it, but that's the ideal.
Is there somebody that really has to take more of the responsibility of making decisions, musical decisions?
No.
It's not you.
No.
Do you clash ever with Craig? I mean, do you have different musical...
Yeah, we may be even getting to the point where there's just not enough room for both of us.
Why?
We're just doing, each of us want to do too much in two different directions. I mean, the whole band even, perhaps. You never know with this band what's going to be next.
Do you think that the things that sometimes keep bands together, I mean, so many people have told me this about their own situations, and I don't know whether or not they've just figured this out as some kind of rationale to explain the tension, or if it really is true, but you know how people often feel that any kind of relationship that has tension in it, whether it's personal relationship or this kind of a conglomeration, a musical conglomeration, that the tension is the thing that keeps it interesting. Do you believe that?
No. The Who is the best example.
Well,
under tension, they do their worst work. They're all assholes to one another, and it shows in their work when they're rolling.
See, they say the exact opposite about their own work.
But I think if you look at the times,
police say the same thing.
I mean, what?
The police also say if there wasn't tension, they wouldn't be able to function.
I don't agree with that theory.
Yeah, I think they've just worked that out as a rationale.
If life is nice, things go much better. When there's tension, I don't like it. And we've played best under some very bad conditions. I mean, you call yourself out a little more if it's raining in Central Park, for example, and you schedule a free park concert. Sometimes you play real good to make up for the rain that everybody has to stand out there in, or you're late and somebody's sick, and and you pull together. But generally, if you're feeling good, you'll be better.
But, you have been involved, I would imagine, over the past 17 years, since the beginning of the Jefferson Airplane and through the Starship, and your own personal situations and everything, in some of the most unconventional, tension-ridden situations. So how do you get by?
I have no idea. I started writing a song for this last album that didn't get used on the album, but it started out as a song about surviving. And not your usual we're the survivors kind of song, but just started categorizing and listing like Stairway to Cleveland did, with all the things you have to worry about, all the things that we've survived, all of us since birth, from World War II to polio to cancer, all those kind of scares, through all the 60s and getting heads beat in by police and drugs, and all the drugs that are like a gauntlet that you have to run, to get through this rock and roll world, that are offered to you in fast cars. And pretty soon the list got so long that it would have been a couple albums, the song would have been long. And I sort of gave up the idea. But yeah, we've been through a lot of stuff that I have no idea why, unless there's a guardian angel or something. I mean, I've stood in Houston in a circle of it seemed like 8-foot tall cops who I'd mouth off at on stage in the 60s during the concert, because, they were making kids sit down and hitting kids for dancing and stuff. And they called me up after the concert, and nobody talks like that to us here in Houston. The guy's, sort of fondling his nightstick. And I just looked up in his face and said, "Fuck you, asshole. You were being a jerk out there." And I don't know why I said this, It's not quite as bad as saying "fuck you" to a Hell's Angel, but it was close. And they didn't do anything. They just said, "Well, you'll never play in Houston anymore." I said, "Well, with people like you around, I wouldn't want to play in Houston." "Well, you'll be out in the fields next time." "I'll be happy to be out in the fields next time." But I mean, from situations like that to full head-on 50-mile-an-hour motorcycle accidents into telephone poles, where smash your head wide open, to cerebral hemorrhages, to
Do you say you have a plate in your head or something?
No.
You had a plate in your head.
I just had a small platinum mesh in front of where my skull was totally crushed.
And then when you had the hemorrhage, how was that? Was there any relation there between the two?
They couldn't find anything. They found a little blood in my spinal fluid, which meant some sort of cerebral hemorrhage of some sort. But when they looked for it under the X-ray or the whatever they call it, they couldn't find it, and assumed that it was very small and it healed itself. And maybe the pressure up here relieved, I don't know.
So all these things have happened to you. Do you react calmly to them?
Apparently.
Do you have a temper? Do you ever get crazy? Do you yell? Do you get angry?
Rarely, very rarely. No, very rarely.
So this is the way you've obviously just learned how to deal with all of it.
Oh, I don't deal with it. I mean,
Well, you deal with it somehow. I mean, you don't let it do you in.
Furry Freak Brothers is my best way of dealing with life, really. I mean, it's really not all that serious. When I was worried about dying in the hospital, I mean, when they said, you might die in the hospital, I said, well, hey, this has been a great life,
You sure
I
you
don't have
didn't
to
say?
worry about old age, taxes, old age homes, people
You
treating you
sure?
terrible, cerebral
Oh.
palsy, or whatever else you get when you're old. And I'm sort of like I was talking to you before about the religious people. I'm open to somebody being up there and flash of light and all that sort of stuff, or something, some equivalent, but that hasn't happened to me either. And that was the time to get it if you're going to get it, and it never got it.
You sure you didn't say it right the first time when you just said when I was worrying about dying in the hospital?
No. Other people were worrying about dying. I was sad about dying only because I wouldn't see my children grow up was the only real thing that bothered me. And a little tear formed, on the side of your eye. But beyond that, I mean, come on, I can't knock what I've been and done. It's been a great life. I haven't had to murder anybody well, I wouldn't mind being a bank robber, but I haven't had to steal from anybody who really needed it. I have no complaints. I'm ready to go. I was almost sort of interested in taking the step just to find out what was on the other side, if there was indeed another side. I mean,
Like when they show those things where they have those people who just come back from death and they show them on television and they remember that friends were waiting
Right.
for them.
It's possible. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I know.
I think the one thing that we can say for sure is that none of us, and this includes every religion and every philosophical institution that exists and every medium and psychic, I don't think one of us has the slightest inkling of what happens after death, and can't until we die. And all the gurus and all the martial arts heroes and whoever or whatever just don't, none of us know. We have no way of knowing.
You brought up Stairway to Cleveland, and I'm determined to get that onto this program. Was there an edited version of that? I mean, does radio play it?
Well, a couple stations play it in its regular version.
Really, not the ones this
California
show is on,
station.
I'm afraid. I'm afraid the AOR stations.
I think they got a little trouble from the FCC.
Yeah, I don't think PLJ
it's real
and
blatant.
KLOS are going to play this, but I'm determined to get it.
No, I think some stations edited it themselves.
It's just a wonderful song.
Well, that's why I made it.
Yeah.
To give it.
You didn't do an edited version of it.
I think RCA might have put one out, but no, I didn't.
And you didn't mind that.
I don't care now.
Yeah.
I mean, that wasn't the point. They just wanted to send it around to radio stations.
Was that really in reaction to a critic situation?
Well, originally it was just a letter I wrote to Rolling Stone.
Was it literally one line, "Dear Rolling Stone, fuck you, we do what we want, sincerely, Paul Kantner"? Because I don't remember
signed it
that.
Yours in Christ, Paul Kantner.
Oh, but it really was just one line.
They edited that particular line out of, I guess, to not offend anybody.
But it was just one line. I mean, it wasn't a long, rambling letter.
No, it may have been 2 lines, but basically it was just 1 line. And I got it from a guy named Paul Warren in Los Angeles, who's a guitar player, a studio guitar player, and had a band at the time called Explorer, and we just saw him at one of the clubs, because I got to clubs all the time, and we ran across him, and he was playing with the keyboard player for the Doors.
Ray Manzarek.
Ray Manzarek, who was producing a lot of people, and he was hanging around them and playing keyboard that night, and they were just having fun, getting drunk and playing. And he went into this sort of Jim Morrison imitation about how everybody tells him how everything's, your band is screwed up and your shoes are wrong, and just went into this thing and he threw his guitar out and started rolling down on the floor and came up with a "fuck you, I'm gonna do what I want" idea. And when the Rolling Stone came up with a real caustic review of Freedom at Point Zero, I just couldn't resist just writing it down and sending it to them. And Cynthia, our PR person, knows Jan real well, so they, in good humor, published it, and it just went from there.
And the song?
What do you mean?
The song resulted from that.
Well, the song came from that, yeah. Just that same spirit as the network thing. I'm mad as hell. I'm not going to take it. I mean, it's really fun. Right. It's the first humorous song I've ever really written.
Yeah, except that song, I think, and Out of Control on this album, to me, anyway, certainly sound as great as any punk song.
But Out of Control isn't as funny.
No, but just the sound of it.
That was a unique accomplishment for me, because it's real hard for me to be funny.
Really?
I'm not a serious kind of guy. And normally I can smile and tell a joke and funny, but on presentation it's real hard to be funny or romantic for both Grace and me, I think. It just seems like
it's embarrassing.
Everybody knows that we're just cold assholes at heart, and to be romantic, everybody will just know that we're faking it. To say "ooh, baby" is real hard for me. and to tell a joke that is still sort of amusing after you've heard it 40 times is very hard. And so to do it in song was an accomplishment for me, and I was real proud of that level of Stairway to Cleveland. A lot of people don't take it as a joke, though. So certain critics and certain religious, I hope to hear from the religious guy I turned on to it. I'm sure I'm going to write him a letter and send it to him, maybe, I think.
Well, how can songs like that, and when I was saying that and Out of Control in terms of just the sound of them, I mean, there certainly is anything that you would want to say that the Ramones or the Sex Pistols have done. I think that they're, I mean, that's the kind of music that I like, yeah.
I mean, Airplane particularly and Starship have always been known for being high energy, particularly live.
But don't you think...
On records, we rarely accomplish it.
Yeah, I was going to say,
live,
where does
always
that
play
fit?
Too loud. They always, our sound man always you're playing too loud. Like, it's going crazy. I can't understand it.
Yeah, but those songs sound so much different than almost anything else on those albums, really.
Yeah, well, that's why I was talking about the diffraction of me and the rest of the group at this particular point. We're going in those two directions.
So what's going to happen?
I don't know if it's going to stop. Well, I never worry about it.
How would you define the direction that you're going into, would you? I mean, you know what would you call it?
No.
Well...
It's several different... It's not a direction. And that music is just part of it. I also wrote Back from the Jaws of the Dragon, which is a little, at least musically, more, I was going to say regular, but it's not a very regular song either. I don't write very commercial songs, and I don't look to making, if I were to go away, I wouldn't be in a group that probably made an awful lot of money. Several other people in the group aspire to that sort of journey-like acceptance. And that's my main conflict with a lot of people in the group right now.
Well, was that a conflict with Marty in terms of something like Miracles?
No, I thought Miracles was an extraordinarily beautiful song and very unique and not pap at all. It was one of the first of the soft rock stuff before Fleetwood Mac, before anybody. I mean, it was far ahead of its time, I thought.
But did it get you sort of pegged into a category that you didn't want to be in?
Probably for a while, in some people's minds. But everybody who came and saw us live knew different. But that was just AM radio. I mean, we rarely hit on AM radio. We have maybe 4 hits in our entire lifespan that are bona fide radio hits, really. I mean, we haven't based our career on radio hits. That's one element of the band wants to go in. And that may be the breaking of us.
Would you say Be My Lady is that same?
It's half and half.
Thing?
There's some good stuff to Be My Lady, I think. And there's some, what I consider not so good stuff. It's a nice radio song. If you like that kind of radio.
So is Out of Control. I mean, it's just
no,
you don't hear that kind of stuff.
It's not a radio song.
Well, that's too bad, isn't it?
No, actually.
Oh, I think it is. I remember when I was growing up, I could hear, Thelonious Monk and
you still can.
Ray Charles on the radio. No, you can't.
Oh, the radio.
Not in New York. Yeah, no, I mean, talking about radio. I mean, of course, which we can't. They'll never use any of this on the show because this is on the radio, and it's all the same problem I always have.
Well, no, I mean, several of the odder stations are getting acceptance out in California. It's not all Camel anymore.
Yeah, I know. Well, it has to turn around. I mean, it has to. It's the same thing that happened in 1969. It's a very cyclical thing.
It won't stay the same. That's the one thing you can be sure of. It's not going to stay the same, ever.
Do you have an overview of, having been involved in this business for 17 years, what do you think when you hear, once again, the death knell for the music and the fact that the record company, people are going crazy and jumping out of windows or firing people?
Well, they got used to very high profits. They had a few good years, and to me, it's returning to normal. I don't see any great problem with it.
How do you feel personally in terms of putting out something that is considered product that you do make money from, that there are copyright laws and you own your songs?
I should hope so.
And people taping them for free as opposed to buying them?
Oh, I don't know, because if I wasn't, I probably would be.
Which?
And I am. I have several tapes right now in my own collection there that I made off my records at home, so that I could bring them out to listen to them on the road. Does that make me a tape criminal?
Well, I'm interested in.
I mean,
the whole idea that
I don't tape them off the radio, but
well, what about
that's
the
a
fact?
Tricky subject.
What about the fact that you've been getting free exposure, publicity, promotion, advertising by having radio play all your records for free for all these years? Yeah.
It's not free.
Why not?
Well, the radio station makes all sorts of money off of it.
Well, that's true with the
We
sponsors.
don't get
But,
any of that.
but it exposes you to the point where people go and then buy your records.
Not very well. As I said, we've had about 4 AM hits in 15 years. I could count them. Probably if I could reel them off on one hand, I bet.
Who do you think comes to see you now?
Cross-section.
Of what?
Everything.
People who grew
Yeah.
up with the Jefferson Airplane?
Yeah, old gray-haired people. I don't know why I don't go gray or something. Too young. I mean, there was a girl last night right in front of me on stage. It must have been 15. That was so licentious and seductive, and all night was giving me the finger, not out of anger. This was a romantic approach. Yes, and I mean, you know, it's a full range. I love it. I mean, that's the licentious element I was talking about in life, particularly being raised a Catholic by nuns and Jesuits. Makes that extraordinarily doubly attractive.
This has all fulfilled some kind of fantasy that you
Probably.
didn't know you even had at
Probably.
one point?
Oh, we all knew we had it. But we didn't ever believe that we'd ever get to exercise it.
Do you ever wonder, like going from hotel to hotel and doing this whole kind of, does it still feel like a crusade in some way, like maybe it felt in the 60s more?
Oh, yeah, particularly when you go to Normal, Ohio, you know, or Illinois, or things like that. Yeah, there's still an element of that to it. Yeah. And you can see people being turned on for the first time to just that sort of pagan ritual that it is. It goes back to like dancing in front of the bonfires for the great god Baal or something like that.
I read something that you said, I don't know whether you were serious or not, I was just curious about it. It might have been some total put on where you said kids were burning their shoes at concerts.
Oh, no,
were you putting somebody on, or is somebody actually doing
that? Out in California.
Beg
You've
your
heard of
pardon?
razor dancing. Punks, you know, with little razors in their sewn into their clothing, and then you bounce and
Well, the slam dancing.
Yeah, well, that's
Yeah.
graduated to razor dancing.
Oh, no, that hasn't
Razor
hit me
dance,
yet.
and one sort of unique element of that particular sort of semi-violent side was spraying lighter fluid on your shoes and lighting it and dancing fast enough so that it didn't burn your pants up. it was. I mean, it's nothing really dangerous, you know.
This is in Los Angeles, is this?
Yeah, well, yeah, California.
The punk scene in Los Angeles is it got really bizarre very quickly, didn't it?
True. Well, Los Angeles is very
Yeah, I
bizarre,
know.
just like New York is very bizarre.
But there was none of that kind of stuff going on
Oh,
in
come
New
on.
York. Like,
Safety pins and
that
Sid Vicious.
never
Sid
caught. That's
Vicious,
England.
Sid Vicious,
That's
I rest my
London.
case. There's a Chelsea
not New
hotel
York.
where I used to stay and love.
That's because he had this
He was a
romantic
jerk.
fantasy of the Chelsea Hotel, and he was a jerk.
He was a junkie jerk, yeah.
I mean, but that's London. That's not New York.
That's New York.
New York was Patti Smith and television and the Ramones and the Talking Heads and a bunch of intellectuals. I mean,
That's one side of New York.
well, the
yeah.
Ramones are
Sick fucks.
Ramones are not in that category. Yeah, wait, no, I'm still okay here. See, that's the thing that I think people might be surprised to learn about you, that you're into all of that. You're aware
I love
of all,
extremes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love extremes.
but I mean, you do go to clubs and you're aware of all these bands. And
I
you
live
check
right on the
them all
edge
out.
of the ocean, too, and my house gets battered by some of the fiercest storms of the Pacific throws in at me, and I just love it because the house is nice and secure and warm and you know, and it shakes. And,
Are you somewhere where if there was an earthquake, that would be
oh,
it?
yeah, probably.
And you really remain calm in the face of all of this.
It's just a planet.
Yeah, but
I
is
mean, it's only
it like
80
you're
years.
testing yourself somehow?
No, I don't really test myself. Everything I do, I'm 90% certain that I'm not that much of a risk taker, stupid risk taker. I take risks, but not stupid risks. Like none of the band ever got into downers or speed or heroin to a great extent. When in the biggest drug area, it was all the kind of openers, peyote, mescaline, LSD, marijuana, and that's what represented the whole movement of the 60s. And then heroin and speed moved in as marijuana and LSD were sort of proscribed heavily by the police and the forces that be, and left a great vacancy open to speed and junkie dealers. That moved in and ruined the hate and everything else after that. Same reason.
What was it like then for you?
There was 1 year there, and I think that anything was possible. Anything you dreamed would come true, and all the world was just yours for the taking. Whatever you were going to do, it would work.
What year was that?
Probably 66 or 7. I mean, it was that kind of year.
What do you tell your daughter about those times?
I don't.
You don't?
No.
She doesn't sit and say, Daddy, tell me what it was
No,
like to
no,
be
no.
in Haight-Ashbury.
She may at some point, but no, that's the farthest thing from her mind.
Is she aware of your history, though? And who
Probably
you and
not.
Grace are and what it all represented
Probably
to people?
not really. I mean, she knows what we've done, but China is always telling Grace and I what to wear to school, and is very concerned that we don't embarrass her. And no, I mean, on a real light level, it's nothing heavy or serious.
This is the child who
It's
wrote the
amusing.
lyrics to Out of Control.
No, she just wrote the Shut Up section. Her finest lyrics that I like so far were in a song called Things to Come on the Freedom at Point Zero album. We were sitting there one night talking about space, and I was trying to tell her that there's just billions of miles out there, you know, and nobody knows how far it goes. It's infinity, you know. It just goes past, and somehow she came up with some similar thing to the line of past God and past Mars. I want to go out into space, past God, past Mars, past light, and then past God, and then where there are no numbers, meaning, you know, further than numbers, which is a real great concept for a 5-year-old to come up with.
Did you feel a tremendous amount of, was there a lot of pressure on you during the whole time when you were living with Grace, and media would make much of the fact that you had this child and you weren't married, and there were all these kind of stories in Life magazine, and I mean, how did you feel about that? Did you feel like it was your private life? Or
I didn't care. It didn't bother me in the least. I mean, you didn't pay attention to it. Other than you read it as part of your clips.
How did it feel?
It's like, you know what, it's what's happening this week.
How did it
It was amusing.
How did it affect the band? I mean, how did your own personal relationship?
There was no band at that time, as I remember, when China was born. Or the band was just in the midst of sharding in 1971, when China was born. We might have done one more tour after that, maybe.
I'm confused as to actually when you two were together and when she left the
So am
band
I.
and when she rejoined.
I remember I was making Blows Against the Empire. I don't know the year, really.
74?
69.
69.
69 or 70.
74 was when you officially formed Starship?
You got me. Probably.
So.
Close
Well, when
to
you
that.
first
When
you first started Jefferson Starship, was it supposed to be some loose conglomeration that was working on this record that you were doing?
No. No, I was making a solo record while being part of Jefferson Airplane, and just sort of humorously called the people who helped work on the band, since it was a science fiction sort of approach, Jefferson Starship. And that's all there was to it.
And when did it become
serious? And 4 years
serious?
later, we were looking for a name for this new band we were starting, Grace and I. And came out, and that was the best we could do.
Well, now, without being too media about this, you did say that you felt that perhaps you were going in two different directions, you and some of the other members of the band.
Now? Yeah.
Who in particular besides Craig? Pete?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that it, or?
I can never tell.
And
mainly.
What do you think might happen?
I never plan.
But what's something in the back of your mind about it?
Yeah, I have some other projects I'm working on. I'm going to do an album with Jack Cassidy and a few other people next year or next 2 years sometime, because we worked out so well on my solo album. It's real vintage power bass, you know, that you just don't hear much of. And I'm writing this. I'm writing how to play the 12-string guitar book.
You are? Why?
There's something I think I have to offer to people who have to deal with the 12-string guitar, which is a very unique instrument.
Is there no such book at all?
Not the kind of book I'm going to put out. I mean, it'll have all sorts of things beyond. It's not just a how to play the 12-string guitar book. I mean, hints of how to do things and get around things and subversions and things like that. Revenges. There's this new series of books I caught called Revenge Books.
Oh, that sounds
about what
good.
to do when people really mess you over without them knowing. And just, you know, how to mess. I mean, I'm not going to do any of it, but I sat there one night with just tears rolling out of my eyes, because they're so funny when you think about somebody going through all these problems. Like there was one where you go off and you you arrange so that on a Friday you call into PG&E and the telephone company and the gas company and tell them that you're going away for about 6 months, and you'd like everything turned off on Friday. So the guy goes to work and he comes home Friday and nothing's working. And he calls up to pick up his phone and that's not working. And so and then you leave that sit there, and you can imagine what's going to go there. And then about a week later, you write a letter to the President of the United States and the mayor of the town and the governor, saying that you hold him personally responsible for your lights and gas and power being turned off, and by God, this bullet is meant for you, and send a letter off to. That's what I mean. You know, you're chuckling right there. Write subversive or write threatening letters to the local head of the Hells Angels, giving your name and address, and challenging him.
You mean giving somebody else's name and
Yeah,
address, the
right,
person
right,
that you
right.
want the
Not you.
revenge?
No,
Is that
God
right?
forbid you.
That's fabulous. That's a
I mean,
wonderful
that's just the
idea.
beginning. It gets
Right.
much more. The books are much more complicated, and you get them through these Soldier of Fortune kind of magazines.
Right. Although now they have this devil rock music devil magazines. Have you seen
Oh
those?
no.
Oh yeah, they have
Are
these
we
things
in
that you
them?
can. I don't know.
I'll
I
have
don't
to. I
think so. I
hope
think I've
so.
just seen Stairway to Heaven backwards. You know that old chestnut. And
Yeah. Have you heard that backwards?
you can't listen to a record
Yeah,
backwards.
you can.
No, you need a tape recorder.
Oh yeah. Well, have you heard the tape
No,
backwards?
I haven't. But I know
It's,
Robert well enough to know that he's so proud of those damn lyrics going forward that I can't imagine he ever took a minute's time.
you should listen
Do
to it
anything.
backwards.
What does it sound like?
It's real clear. Well, I don't want. I haven't heard. I haven't heard it firsthand actually.
No,
I've heard it over the television on a Jesus show.
You see, I think
And
that
it's right. It's very. If it's there, it's quite chilling.
It's
Do you think? What do you think the Jesus people doctored it?
yes, absolutely.
I'll have to check it. I'll have
First
to get
of all,
a copy.
most of these groups are far too cheap to spend an extra dime in the studio doing anything like that. I mean, Cheap Trick had their names on it once backwards
Oh
or
no, but I
something
mean,
like
Pink
that.
Floyd and the Beatles and people have been doing it for years. ELO and stuff like that. We've even
You have?
not really backwards, but we put weird stuff in.
Oh,
Not
well.
devil stuff, just funny stuff. You know, nothing really even relevant that would be that amusing to talk about on your show.
I know. I just think it's the whole thing is as everything else. I mean, it's just so blown.
Well, they
out of
found one
proportion.
on one of my songs.
Which
That's
one?
the one I was telling you about the people I saw on the Jim Baker show on a song called on my solo album Blows Against the Empire, the first Jefferson Starship thing, a song called "The Child Is Coming."
Yeah.
And they played it backwards
Yeah,
and
what'd
somehow
they
got
find?
the son of Satan, the son of
Did
Satan.
you hear it?
No, but David Freiberg, our bass player, did. I've listened to it over and over, but I can't hear it. So I must have some mental block against it. But you know, if you play enough stuff backwards, something's going to come out. I like the one on Queen. You heard the one about Queen on what's their big famous hit? Another one, Bites the Dust. Something says something about smoke marijuana. I like to smoke marijuana over and over.
I really should probably listen to all these because I was supposed to at one point go on the Phil Donahue show and defend rock and roll music, you know. They certainly don't want anyone to have good times. I know Jagger was telling me that when the Stones couldn't go to Poland, I think it was the year that they just decided that they didn't want the young people to have any fun, you know, that literally that was what it was. So on one level, you know, it's good because that means that it still gets people crazy.
Yeah.
You know, but on the other level, if it's going to really prevent people from hearing it, that's not so great either.
It won't. Short of totalitarianism, it won't.
Yeah, I
In
guess.
fact, we weren't doing too well on ticket sales in Normal until this guy got going.
Oh, I
And
see.
So that we were sort of trying to think of some way to get him to travel with us, you know,
Yeah.
and go do this every time, or at least provide him with our itinerary so he'd know where we'd be and could go ahead of us.
Maybe to just open the show.
Right.
When Grace left the band,
I mean, I had some of his own followers coming up and apologizing for him to me at the end of the debate. Some of his own parishioners.
yeah, really.
And others were not apologetic, but very nice to me and said, "You seem like a very honest young person. Thank you for speaking."
When Grace left the band, you at that time, I remember, did say often that you wouldn't be surprised if she came back.
Right.
Did you? I mean, you felt that way about it? Or did you just think she needed some time to get stuff together?
I didn't worry
or-
about it. I was just going forward. If she would come back, she would come back. If she wouldn't, she wouldn't.
Were you a champion of her coming back? I mean,
The only
more
one.
than
The
somebody.
only one at first.
Really? Why, the others were all worried that she was going to fuck up or what?
Aynsley didn't want to work with a woman.
I beg your pardon?
Number one, that was my first hurdle. I sort of laughed my way over that one and sort of railroaded it. And then Grace...
Just to say, this is Aynsley Dunbar, who did work with David Bowie, right? I'm sure I know him. Yes, okay. Yeah, right.
I shouldn't actually spread too many salacious tales about it. It's like, we did have our disagreements, though.
So he didn't want to work with a woman, and the others had all heard of her dodgy reputation or
Right.
something.
So, I mean, you can appreciate their nervousness. But she came back and singing and was there and real professional and together, and there was no problem at that point. She took care of it herself.
Has
Yeah.
been since, or
Yeah.
how does everybody get along now? I mean, if there are these musical differences, as you say, and they're becoming more pronounced, how does that affect the situation when you're in the midst of a tour and on the road?
We just had a big argument last night in the dressing room. I'll tell you tonight after the show. No, I mean, you have arguments sometimes and you get over it. It's like a family. I mean, up to a point. it's like a family. It's not really like a family because you can leave.
Yeah.
Well, in a family, you can leave too, really. You can move to Detroit and not write home if you don't like your mother. A lot of people do every year. You never hear from them again. It's the common American way. That's the problem in America. Well, it's not the problem in America, but families aren't tied anymore. It's not the way of the world anymore. You don't live in one area. We were coming into New York the other day, and those graveyards, with all the close.
Yes.
We were
my relatives are out there.
They're all sort of silly to us, but in the olden days, when families lived for 4 and 5 generations in one place, they probably had a lot more meaning. To us, they just look like more silly urban sprawl. The end, the last terminal connection for urban sprawl is a close crop three on top of each other graveyard in New York.
Off the highway, yeah.
So that's why I like space. Uncrowded. That's why Grace said she got on the rock and roll stage. It was the least crowded place at the party. And get a good view of who's there. And
how do you see your whole overview of the last 17 years in terms of the various stages of the career? I mean, do you see the Jefferson Airplane as one part of it, and then the Jefferson Starship is, divided in different parts, like with Grace and Marty, without Grace and Marty, with Nikki and Grace?
It's like Soap World. I can't keep up with
it. Isn't it like
I
a
don't really
soap
look at
opera? I mean, is the whole thing
Isn't
sort of been
everything?
like a soap opera?
Isn't everything?
I know, but this band particularly is had so many different changes that it's. Why, however, do people think that that's unusual? Why do they think it's supposed to remain fixed? Most bands do, I guess.
It's an idea. No, most bands don't. If you look at most bands, there's not one that's the same. Not one, really. Keep thinking.
You mean as the beginning, as the very beginning?
As they started as a popular band, when they made it. Not as the beginning, when they made it.
Wait a minute, I'll come up with one.
I know they're right.
I mean, I'm just trying to think. All right,
silence ensues here.
Barring deaths, let me think.
No, not barring deaths.
All right,
deaths is part of life.
Deaths, yeah.
I mean, it's just life is like that.
Jay Giles.
You sure?
Absolutely.
There must have been somebody.
Nope. Same exact band. They started in 1967. Yeah. But that really may be the only one.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. The point being, life isn't like that. Even families aren't like that. Some die, some marry, some move away, some get in feuds and never speak again. And this is more like maybe what did Vonnegut call it? A carouse, I think, when a bunch of weird people get together who have some uniting factor who aren't families. He says he always looked for people under his name when he'd go into towns and call them up just to see if he could establish some connection. But he said, and he's right, the thing about America is that's the thing that's missing. It's never been that way in the world before. Old countries had long traditions of hundreds and thousands of years and families going back. I mean, the oldest thing in America is 200 years old, short of the Indians, of course. But as far as regular white, black, Oriental people, the oldest thing we got going is 200 years old. So there's not much tradition here. There's not much family structure. We're all sort of afloat, alone, really. That's why the Jesus element is so large today, because a lot of people are finding and getting scared of that aloneness, and you lose it in that Christian carouse, or you lose it in a rock and roll band. It's a wolf pack.
When you look at what happened to you and the Jefferson Airplane and the Grateful Dead, because you both sort of started around the same time in the same place and were part of the same scene. It's very different, really, what happened, isn't it? Do you think that's because the personalities involved? I mean...
Just two different things.
I mean, those kids that follow them like it was the circus, those
Nothing wrong with
deadheads.
that.
No, I'm not saying that there is. I'm just saying that, do you think that that's still tied to drugs in a way that makes that unique, or do you think that it's just...
Those drugs are rarely available anymore in any pure form. I mean, I haven't really even looked for a long time myself, but...
No, but you go to Grateful Dead concerts now, and you just see kids, on cheap Warren and Downs. I mean, it's...
Wasn't that true? I mean, you see that anywhere. You don't have to go to a concert to see that. Walk down 42nd Street.
Oh, I know that, but I mean, it feels like there's this band of them that follows them from place to place.
They're not all on Reds and Downs.
I don't think they all are.
I haven't really been for a while, so... I mean, we played a benefit with them for the vets, and it looked like 1960. Not all of the audience.
That's because of their audience or because of your audience?
Their audience.
Their audience, that's what I mean. But your audience
They didn't
isn't
look like
that.
burned out to me.
No.
They didn't look like
Some
drug out.
Some of them are still
Some of them
whirling
are spaced
around.
out. I'm
Yeah.
spaced out, though, in terms of the modern American man. I mean, I wouldn't fit at all with a briefcase and a suit on Madison Avenue. I'd be a mass murderer in no time at all, or something like that. I mean, there's a lot of pressure there.
Do you believe in weapons or something? Michael Clifton was telling me something about you like weapons.
I don't believe in anything. Thank you, John.
Something about
don't believe in believe.
Weapons.
I appreciate a good weapon, like I appreciate a good car, and that it's made extraordinarily well. It has to be made.
Collect them or something?
No. I have a few guns for protection, but I'm not a gun nut. I don't think I've even taken them out of the box in 10 years. But if
you're allowed to have them, right? I mean,
oh, yeah.
This is okay.
Yeah. Except for machine guns or something like that, which you're not allowed to have. Most guns are still illegal in the United States. Short of machine guns and anti-aircraft tank guns and things like that. No, they have to be made to extraordinary tolerances to function properly without exploding in your hand. So you can sort of, it might be my German heritage or something, but you can just hold them and feel the craft that went into making them as good as they are. Just like a good car, a Lamborghini or a Porsche or a BMW or God, I can't think of an American one that's so terrible.
Car, there are none.
There must be one.
No. No, there aren't.
See, there's another big change in the world. Everybody, made in Japan used to be the funny, Jerry Lewis kind of machinery, and now it's totally reversed. So now made in America is almost the joke, and made in Japan is what stuff you want. Even they've outstripped the Germans electronically, which is very unusual. Germans still have the car industry down real well. There's no safer car in the world to get into a crash in. A German car.
Do you still feel a responsibility in terms of doing benefits and being involved on that level and giving of your time?
Oh, yeah. I find us paid obscenely. I mean, it's almost criminal. And we're paid very little on general pop music standards. We don't make that much money. We make a lot, but Fleetwood Mac, Beatles, or Elton John standards, it's paltry. It's like one day's rhinestone expenses or something. That's another element that I have varying degrees of trouble with varying members of the groups over varying times of the year about doing benefits.
You mean they don't want to and you do?
It's not quite that black and white.
Well, are you the conscience of the group, do you think?
Let's not get philosophic or anything. No, I just think you should do benefits. There's no question about it in my mind.
But how do you decide, to you, how do you sort of evaluate anti-nuclear versus cable cars or Vietnam veterans versus the symphony?
There's nothing wrong with doing a cable car benefit. I mean, it might be flighty or something. But to me, cable cars are a lot, but that's just to me because I was born in San Francisco. They're one little last hole in what we call the old world, which is not really that old. But it's a nice, really charming bit of San Francisco. I took my daughter on I haven't been on them since I was a kid. I took my daughter on them. Through your children, you usually relive your own childhood pleasantly, turning somebody else onto it. And it's quite nice. No big deal. But there's more important ones, too, like the Vietnam Veterans Benefit I was real proud of. And the Cambodian benefit we did with the Dead and the Beach Boys and Joan Baez years ago, a couple years ago. I don't remember when it was, 4 or 5 years ago. Cambodian Children's Relief. I'd like to do something for old people in San Francisco or in California this next year or two, because they're the ones really hurting. I send money to Danny Thomas, and usually at St. Jude's Hospital, when they do those benefits for children's diseases.
How do you know it ever gets to him?
I don't. I never do that usually. He had a real good campaign or something. I just believed him for some reason. I'd never believe any of those people.
Yeah, I mean, there's something so self-serving about that whole, like that Jerry Lewis telephone.
Oh, Jerry Lewis, God, I want to throw up. Jerry's kids.
And when I grew up, when I was a kid growing up and watching that on television, I used to think, what a wonderful man.
Yeah, right.
He stays up all night. How does he do that?
Yeah, right. And then you learned how he did it.